Okay, this video is going to be about fountain pens and my fountain pen journey. And it's been quite the journey, so I just want to share a little bit. And maybe you might be feeling the same way. And so I guess I'm just going to share my experience with fountain pens, and it's been tumultuous to say the least. I have said to several people that I have had a toxic fountain pen relationship, and I've tried them, hated them, gotten rid of, okay, tried them, loved them, hated them, got rid of them. Time passed. I bought a couple more thinking I'm going to try again, give them another shot. Maybe I know a little bit more about them, and then ended up hating them again and I literally got rid of everything to do with my fountain pens, and then circled way back all the way around, and now I'm a fountain pen enthusiast, I'm a fountain pen collector, and I'll sort of like share a little bit of how that all happened. So when I first started getting into fountain pens, I of course went the beginner fountain pen pathway, and I had pens like TWSBI and Lamy. So these are from a friend because I'd gotten rid of every TWSBI and every Lamy that I've ever had. Lamy, maybe that's how you say that, whatever. Anyway, I can't stand these pens. I just really can't. And if I offend you because I say that, I apologize, because I know there are some people who adore these pens. I don't like them. Out of these two brands, I would prefer this one. I feel like it's less finicky, but this one is prettier, and wow, some of the TWSBIs can be gorgeous pens. But I'll tell you why I don't like them. So I'm just going to start rambling on about these pens. So I apologize. I apologize to begin with, because there's going to be a lot of rambling. This is I don't know the name of, or the, oh yes I do. Oh, the Jinhao. Okay, Jinhao, that you can find on Amazon, that are like Chinese copies of more famous brands. And this was like a $10 pen, maybe a $20 pen. And these have become quite popular, and I'm not going to put them down, or I'm not going to raise them up as far as their quality. I am neutral, completely neutral. I'm not neutral about these. So I'll tell you just a little bit about why I don't like these pens. And it isn't these particular pens. So it's not this Lamy that I don't like, and it's not this TWSBI I don't like. Actually, these two, this TWSBI is one that I like more than any other TWSBI that I've had. But this is the thing. These are beginner sort of entry-level pens. And I say that only because of the price that you can get these pens for $10 or $20, depending on where you are seeking them out, especially if you're going to find them in the used market, like eBay or Mercari or something like that. So TWSBI is a piston filler, and all that means is that this twists up and down, and a vacuum draws the ink up into this ink well, and it has this huge capacity for ink. Now, to clean this pen, TWSBI likes to tout that you can, or TWSBI lovers like to tout that it comes with a little tool, and you can take this pen completely apart and clean completely out the inside of this pen, and then put it back together. It is kind of a nightmare to do that. And I am certainly not an expert, because I wasn't even going to try be an expert. I got so frustrated with a couple of different TWSBIs that I could not get back together. Incredibly frustrating. Like, I would say this is possible. You can do it. People do this all the time. I would watch a couple more videos. I would sit down and do it, and I would end up with this level of frustration that just wasn't even worth it. So they have steel nibs, and they come in different sizes. And this one is like a bold or something. No, it's a stub nib. So it writes like a squarish line. See if I can find something, piece of paper. It's like a squarish kind of line. Sorry, I disrupted Winston. I mean, this pen writes pretty nice. Now, I will hate this pen if I try to pen it or clean it out. I will hate it. Now, I know that people are going to argue with me about this because everyone has their opinion. This video is simply my opinion and it's my journey. So you can try and convince me to love TWSBI, but it's probably not going to happen. So you can clean this pen without tearing it apart. And I'd say that I would like this pen longer if I chose not to do that. So this is a Birmingham Pen Co. ink inside, Tiger Lily or something. And I will just, if I use this pen consistently in the future, I'll just keep inking it up with this color because it's a good match for the pen. So I can continue liking this pen for as long as possible. Lamy, on the other hand, well, not on the other hand, on the same hand, it is a more reliable pen. Oh, let's not forget, these TWSBIs leak on me around here. Don't know why. There's probably a reason why, but I'm not willing to find out why. Anyway, these Lamys, I feel like don't do that. I feel like my Lamy whatever experience has been better. But again, like I'm not, I might be writing along with a pen, and if out of everything with fountain pens, if it doesn't give me a consistent line, I'm just gonna be insane. And that's what happened to me with these cheaper pens or these entry-level pens. I might have hard starts, so I pick up my pen and I have a thought and I want to start writing it down, and the thing won't write on the downstroke. I mean, that just makes me so frustrated. Or it might start skipping when I'm writing. Another thing, incredibly frustrating. And I just thought that was all fountain pens. I had tried so many different ones, like not necessarily different brands, but different pens within certain brands. And I was really frustrated because it just seemed like if there was anything consistent among fountain pens, it was inconsistency. And so that realization happened on my second go with fountain pens, and I said, I've had enough. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm sticking with my ballpoints. I'm sticking with my gel pens. But you know what I figured out too with those is there can be inconsistencies with gel and roller balls and all the like. They can skip as well. Now, when they skip, you just change the cartridge or whatever you call it, the refill, and your pen is usually fine. But there are inconsistencies in those as well. More with fountain pens, but nevertheless. So it was, I may or may not talk about this pen, I don't know. It was this pen. So my friend, the Penabler, she sent me this to try out. And I wrote with it, and I thought, that is an expensive pen. And it's definitely a different experience. And no, I don't want that in my life. I don't want to spend that much money on that pen. And I think it was probably because I still had that bad feeling associated with fountain pens. So I sent it back to her, no, but I thought about it and eventually said, okay, yeah, I want that pen. And thus began my Sailor journey. So Sailor is they are known for their reliability. I feel like I'm missing one. I have one that I've spoken about before that is with Gina Salerno. Oh, I do. I have two that are missing. Where are those guys? They aren't, oh geez, they're down here. They fell on the floor, and I want to say I'm probably going to blame Winston for that. And he could argue that they should have been in my pin box. So I won't blame it entirely on him. So these are my Sailors with one that is, I'm requesting a custom ground nib on. So these are all my Sailors, and Sailor has this feedback to it that has been kind of compared to the scratching of a pencil lead on the paper, and I would 100% agree with that. These are all pretty. This is a journaler nib, so it's a thicker one, a thicker line, but medium fine, no, whatever, it doesn't matter. Medium fines and fines. That is sort of where I've landed with Sailor. So journaler nib, because I love it so much, that is as broad as I really like in this pen. And I've tried a lot. That's another thing about fountain pens is that a lot of people in the United States aren't close to places where they can try pens out before they purchase them. So you end up buying one and you may or may not like it. There's a lot of nuances within brands of fountain pens and then also within nibs. So, you know, you have one company alone right here. These two are same company, two different sizes. And then there's like 5 or 6 different nibs that you could choose in each one. So there's, you know, if I try a Sailor Fine, that doesn't mean that I might not like a Sailor Medium or a Sailor Broad or whatever. So we end up not being able to try them out before we try them or buy them. So we buy them, we may or may not like them, and then they move on, like we sell them, which is a positive thing, I think. It kind of sounds like a negative thing. I can't try before I buy, but if I do buy, I can easily sell and rebuy. Or I can choose to only buy if I don't know that if I like a Sailor Fine or not. I can buy a Sailor Fine used. I can spend a lot less money on it. And if I like it, I found a great deal on a pen. If I don't like it, I can move it on and really maybe I've lost a little bit, but not a lot. So I think that's a positive thing about the higher end fountain pens. Now my knowledge and understanding of the world of fountain pens is very limited. I am not like Mr. Goulet. I don't know all there is to know about fountain pens. I'm just telling you my experience. And I love Sailor. So I feel like almost loyal to Sailor, and there for a while I was only So Sailor was my introduction into the higher end or the like medium expensive pens, the nicer pens, gold nibs. They all have gold nibs. And so I felt very loyal because I felt like Sailor reignited my love for this. Like Sailor is the reason that I'm a fountain pen enthusiast now. So I felt very loyal, like I didn't want to own any other pen besides a Sailor. But I decided, you know, I tried just about every nib in Sailor, and I thought, well, you know what, you've learned enough about fountain pens that maybe it's time to branch out a little bit. So here we are. This is a Pilot Decimo or Vanishing Point. I have mixed feelings about this pen, but for the most part, I like it. I've had 3, I've sold 2, and I think I had 2, sold them both, and then rebought this one. It's a medium fine, or it's a medium nib, which is what I really like in this pen. The converter in this pen doesn't hold very much ink, but it is a very nice writer, so I keep it in my collection. This is another Pilot, and I felt the need to try another Pilot because this one is the Custom 92, because I've been reading a lot about the Pilot pen, and I just wanted to try a different line in the Pilot line. So Sailor and Pilot are both Japanese pens, and I love Japanese pens. So this one's okay. I don't know what it is about this pen that doesn't give me like major love vibes. I'm not sure. I believe this one is a medium as well. I feel like medium is a safe place for people. It gives you like a 0.7 to 1.0 line. And we know those numbers from our gel pen, the gel pens that are readily available. So, and anything under that is going to give you a finer line. And there isn't really much consistency. There is among brands, especially like Sailor, but there isn't much consistency when it comes to a medium in one brand and a medium in another brand. So, this one is a Mont Blanc that I got from my family. This is like almost $1,000 pen that my family found used. And this pen is... There's people who are very loyal to this brand and won't buy any others. And I don't quite get that, but that's okay. I don't have to. Everybody has their thing. I believe Mont Blanc is German, but I could be wrong. So these are like pens for the aristocrats. So this one has, it says, well, this isn't a very good advertisement. I think this converter is almost empty. Yeah, it is. I need to clean this pen. So anyway, it writes okay. I wouldn't want to spend that much money on it new, for sure. I won't probably ever buy another one, but I'm going to put him over here and then talk for a second about these Esterbrook's. So this Esterbrook, I just kind of wanted to try. They're an American brand, and they have a history, a pretty cool history from what I've read so far. Esterbrook has some old pens, and they designed their new pens to be able to swap out and put vintage nibs in them. So that's super cool. The one thing that is the hang up with that, I think, or the drawback, is that this nib you can take out pretty easily. You can twist it and pull it out. And so therefore, because of that, I feel like you have to kind of make sure your nib unit is in there seated in there pretty good before you start writing, because it just leaks. This one's in there well. So I've been frustrated by picking up my Esterbrook and then finding out that I have blue fingers. And since I do leather working, I really don't like ink on my fingers because I don't want it on my leather. So this one is the brand new Esterbrook Blue Moon limited release. They got me on this one. Fine nib, medium nib, journaler nib. Love these 3 pens, but I probably won't own any others from Esterbrook. I say that, but they're going to probably release some beautiful color that I won't be able to resist. So you might ask, why does somebody need so many pens? And the answer is no one needs so many pens. I hate to put this down here because these are my bottom dwellers right now, and I'm putting that most expensive pen, or most valuable pen, I guess, down here with my bottom dwellers, but pretty soon they won't be bottom dwellers. I'll probably fill these up with sailors. But okay, back to what I was saying. The truth is, nobody needs this many pens. Nobody. You can only write with 1 pen at a time. But in fountain pen world, there is 1 million inks, and we like to try different inks, right? And there's all kinds of little doodads that you can have in your life that make fountain pens even more fun. Like this is a little swatch book. This is so fun. It is so relaxing to get new inks and to swatch them and look what they, see how they perform on paper and kind of organize them. That's fun. But no, I don't need all these pens, but I want them. I like them. I love having a collection that I can look at. I love being able to reach in and grab a new pen when I feel inspired to write. And honestly, they help inspire my writing. I like to match different pens with different journals that I'm using, and each one of them performs differently on different paper. So that's another thing. And there's so many differences. I mean, even if you just own 1 fountain pen and maybe 3 different inks, that ink is going to act, especially if it's a different brand ink, it's going to act differently in that fountain pen on different papers. So it's like all these different variables you can apply just to even 1 pen. So if you have these like 10 pens, 11 pens, whatever pens I have, and then you add all the different inks I have, and then all the different papers I have, there's like a zillion different variables that you could come up with in a fountain pen experience. That may stress some people out, but it's exciting for other people who like variety and liking to experiment and change things up. There's a huge fountain pen community that is fun to interact with as well. Some of the downsides of fountain pens, I would say, where the variability is a positive thing, I think it can also be a downside because it can be overwhelming. One of the positives with fountain pens can be all the choices, but that can also be a major drawback. The price can certainly be a drawback. Although I do encourage you to try the used market for fountain pens. It's robust, and you should find if you want to wait for a pen to come from Japan and you want to, buy on eBay and or Mercari, and you're okay with waiting, you can get really good deals on fountain pens if you're willing to wait. Or if you'd like join the fountain pen community and you just meet people. That's how I've acquired a couple pens, is from acquiring them from other people. Let's see. The drawbacks also include different inks have different dry times. Different nibs lay down different amount of ink. So that the terminology is a dry nib or a wet nib. And so a wet nib with a really highly lubricated ink is really going to pour out the ink on your paper. And some love that. Some don't, because it takes longer to dry because there's more ink on the paper. And then they smudge. Left-handed people have bigger struggles with fountain pens, I believe, too. I'm not left-handed, but I have heard of some struggles. And then also different paper, like Tomo River paper, the fountain pen ink is drying on top of the page, where paper like Lloydstrom is going to kind of soak into the paper. So it has a higher chance of bleeding through, but it also has a faster dry time. All of these things can be super stressful for some people, and they have been for me in the past, but I've just kind of gotten used to it. Sometimes I just get flat out sick of the nuances with fountain pens. Like I may pick up one of my pens and it leaks a little bit onto my hand, and that just infuriates me. And I, for whatever reason at that time, even though I know it's a possibility, or I might pick up a pen and I haven't written in it in a while and it's dried out a little bit. And so in order to write with it, I'm going to have to go do a little bit of rehab on it. Like this Mont Blanc, I'm going to have to clean it out. So those things can be frustrating at times, but I've sort of just accepted them. So I say that my fountain pen experience, it's been toxic at times, but I've just kind of accepted the fact that there are these drawbacks, and I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I enjoy it so much that kind of outweighs all the stuff that is the irritating about it. But I still have my favorite all-time gel pen, which is that Pilot G2, and I've showed you the pen body that I have for that Quaco Dia 2. Love it. I love it. And I love that I can know that I can depend on that. And also I have that Quaco Sport with the other refill. I've talked about this in another video. Jetstream, Uni Jetstream. I love the consistency and the dependability of those inks. And when I really am kind of tired of my fountain pens, I just pick those up and write with those pens for some time, actually. And then I remember that I have this wonderful world of fountain pens, and I go right back into it. So it just adds spice to my journaling experience. It keeps me engaged in journaling. It's definitely not a necessity. Maybe this seems super materialistic to people. I don't really collect anything, so I'm not justifying myself. I'm just saying this is the only collection I think I've ever had in my life. So I am really proud of this collection, and I want to keep it somewhat reasonable. And I feel like this box that a good friend bought for my birthday helps me keep it within a reasonable, like it's not taking up an entire room. I am not criticizing anyone who has a collection that takes up an entire room. I just personally don't want that for myself. So I feel like I'm keeping this collection curated and beautiful the way I want it, and it will constantly change. I just sold a pen. I just acquired 2 new pens. And, you know, they come and they go. And there's some that I won't ever, this Mont Blanc I'll never get rid of because my family gave it to me. I say never, but I don't plan to ever get rid of it because my family gave it. This one's a gift. This one I bought from a friend. Like, you know, I have a story behind each one of these, and I enjoy this collection. My kids, I don't know, whenever I die, my children will acquire my pens and they may sell them all, and that's fine with me. I'm not here to enjoy them. But if they enjoy them, then they'll have memories of how much I enjoy them, and it doesn't take up that much space. So, and what a nice gift. You know, it's sort of like jewelry. Some people really love jewelry and they'll hand jewelry down. You could argue that jewelry has probably more value as far as monetary value, as far as heirlooms are concerned. But I think pens, there may be a great-great-granddaughter that is an author someday, and she highly enjoys using her great-great-grandma's Sailor fountain pen that's 100 years old. Who knows? So that is my fountain pen journey. I was super chatty. If you stayed with me, I'm amazed, and I'm grateful for this community and your comments and your encouragement. And anyway, till next time, thank you.